Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Monday, September 9th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this would be a video for you. First off, a couple of clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right here will be moving around and changing. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. Second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one, ticker symbol WHLR. Did this one in yesterday's video, talked about this bull pennant pattern. And yeah, definitely a big breakout today. And in fact, as I speak, and like I said, that's why I like to do these when the market's still open. Check it out. Absolutely beast mode afternoon. And as I speak right now, still pushing to new highs. So a lot of good stuff going on here. And definitely want to get some levels mapped out here as we head into next week. So let's first just start with the overall trend. And that would be this trend line right here. And that's what I would call the ideal support. I mean, if you say, hey, Clay, let me change that to green for support. What would make this chart look the absolute strongest moving forward? That would definitely be if the price can stay above that trend line right there. With that being said, if the price falls below it, that does not mean the chart's destroyed or ruined or anything like that, but that would just make it look the strongest because from the big picture point, we have this line down here, the purple line, the 50-period moving average, keyword being moving, because I understand price is way up here, that line's way down here, but as time goes by, that line is going to move itself higher and higher and get more and more relevant. So from an overarching standpoint, as long as the price is above that purple line, the overall trend is still fully in the bull's favor. Again, yes, staying above that green trend line right there would be best, but big picture wise, as long as the price stays above that purple line, then that is what matters. As far as areas of resistance, nothing really I can say. It's literally in the middle of a whole big breakout here, but that's always a good problem to have when you have those blue sky breakouts. So at this point, kind of just got to wait for things to settle out. If you like to play pullbacks, then that would be something where you can keep an eye on these trend lines right now. But yeah, no doubt about it, a whole lot of momentum headed into the weekend. Next one here, BLMZ, and rougher chart here, but that is all a matter of perspective. What do I mean? Well, if you're some sort of day trader, flipper, scalper, whatever you want to call yourself, and you bought right there and your plan was to buy and sell within 3 minutes, well then yeah, from that standpoint, the chart's looking very, very rough because from that point, there has been this downwards channel that has formed. With that being said, if you care about things from the big picture point of view, part of the big picture is sure, acknowledging, yeah, there is this downwards channel. However, part of the big picture is also saying, yeah, but what was happening before this downwards channel? And those people would say, well, the price was here, and then it exploded all the way up there, which is now giving me the ability to draw a bull flag pattern. So again, let me be very clear, those people that were buying up here, I get it. They don't care about the bull flag pattern if they were day traders. But if you do care about the bigger picture point of view, then you still have a bull flag, or maybe you're just searching for stocks and you like to play bull flags down in this price range, then this would certainly meet that criteria. So depending on your strategy, depending on your game plan, is certainly going to dictate whether or not this is a good or bad looking chart. Next one here, BENF, and here we have an interesting situation, namely, I guess I was going to say namely for the pullback players, but as I glance at it again, I suppose the breakout players, they have something they can work with if they were to put a trend line in like that. So if you do like to play breakouts, that's a pretty well-defined trend line. But for me, what's caught out or what stood out is mainly from the angle of pullback players because the price is now, after a very strong move, has pulled back quite a bit and is now nearing the very well-known, the very famous 200-period moving average, which on my chart denoted there by that pink line, current value of it right there around $2.02. So a couple different choices there in terms of a breakout or a pullback. If you want to get extra conservative, then you could certainly just see if the price wants to pull all the way back to the purple line there, the 50-period moving average, which is valued at $1.75. Of course, the risk there is just the opportunity cost. What happens if the price never goes down there and then you get some sort of big bounce? You just won't be participating in the trade. But if it does go down there, well then yeah, you'll have a better entry point. So like I said, those are just the things that we have to weigh as traders. But anyway, look at it, whether you like to play a breakout or you like to play potential pullbacks, this thing definitely offers a couple different angles. Next one, SQQQ, and this one had been stuck in this little sideways channel here for the past day and a half, but it is stuck no longer. You can see opening 30 minutes of the day, price came up there, broke through that level, and then the rest is history. Very, very impressive break up through there. So I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of those lines as they serve their purpose for now, and we'll get the new updates in play. So as far as key levels of resistance, main level to watch now going to be right there at that resistance trend line, and then as far as supports are concerned, have this area of support right there. Let me change that to green, and then just to make the pattern a little bit easier to see, let's keep it one color. So we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the big explosive move right there. For you golf players out there, I'll put the golf hole down here to make it a little bit more visual. And this would be a bull pennant pattern. So we've had a bull flag pattern, and now we have a bull pennant pattern. But anyway, look at it. Very, very impressive day today. Big, and this is just classic volume analysis too. Big volume on the upwards part. And then as things have, let me color code this a little bit better. And then as things have consolidated right here, you can see down here volume-wise, the prices also dropped off, which is what you want to see, lower volume during consolidation, and that's exactly what's happened. So good, solid bull pennant pattern. Next one here, NVDA, and we finally got our answer. This will mean a little bit more to those of you that have watched past videos, but if you haven't, we've been talking about this sideways channel pattern here where the price has been stuck and going back and forth. But you can see this morning, price finally did break to the downside, and then no shock there. The floodgates opened up quite a bit. Now, to be fair, yeah, I mean, it did drop, don't get me wrong, but at least it's leveled out, and there's a slight little bounce here that's occurring. So it's not like it was pure blood the entire day long, but I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that level. It served its purpose for now. And the first key update is just based on a foundational rule in charting, which states when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. So if this little miniature bounce right now continues, first key battleground to watch now moving forward, going to be right there at 104.75. But with that being said, even if the price were to break above that level, I wouldn't get overly excited because not that far away, you then have the purple line right there, the 50-period moving average. In terms of levels of support, nothing complicated or crazy here, just a very basic question. Where did the bleeding finally stop today? And the bleeding finally stopped right there at 195. So 195 for that reason alone, just basic logic would be where the key level of support is going into next week. Because yeah, if that level falls, then that's just telling you that the price is now put in a newer low, which would just prime-like the downtrend that much more. So yeah, definitely a bearish week here for NVIDIA. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online webinar that I'm offering next week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live webinar. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box you can use to sign up. Or if you're watching at my website, there's an area right there on the webpage you can use to sign up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free class. Next one here, TSLA Tesla, and very, very brutal move for this one. Had a beautiful pattern going into yesterday, actually gapped outside of the pattern, but then on the pullback, that pattern was destructed, and then it just kept bleeding. And as I speak right now, you can see that Tesla is headed to even newer lows. So yes, not a good day at all. Just get rid of these lines here as they serve their purpose and focus on the newest levels here to watch. With the key level of support now, that seems, I mean, no guarantees, but seems very, very likely will at least get tested right down there at 209.50. You can see that this was a bottoming out point here before a nice bounce. So that does make it an interesting trade location. Now, let me be very clear. Just because it's bounced before does not mean for sure the price goes down there and bounces again. But is that at least a reasonable, plausible thought to have? Absolutely, especially when you have it happening before. So in some senses, you could call this a potential double bottom. So keep an eye on 209.50. But anyway, look at it. Definitely a very, very important level to watch next week. Even just from a health perspective, if the price were to drop below there, then that's where the chart starts to look that much shakier, because that would essentially be implying that this whole gain here has been totally wiped away. If the price does all of a sudden try to turn itself around, main battleground from a resistance standpoint going to be all about the pink line right there, 200-period moving average right now valued at, we'll just call it 216.25. But yeah, brutal day today, a whole lot of bleeding. Price now is seemingly going to go down and test 209.50, and that's a big question mark, I think, on my mind and a lot of other people's minds. Does it double bottom there? Does it break and then open up another round of bearish momentum? Grab your popcorn and we'll see what happens. Next one, UVIX. Nice pattern here has formed, and as I draw this pattern, I'm not trying to impress you. This is not some sort of great discovery on my part. I assure you a lot of people have drawn something very similar to this, and I say all that because when a lot of people are watching the same patterns and wondering the same things, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movement. So let me get that for the support. And then, I mean, you've seen this pattern already. So we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the big upwards move here, we have the golf hole down here. So we have ourselves another bull pennant pattern. And like I mentioned earlier, from a volume standpoint, I mean, beautiful. During this upwards move right here, check out the volume. Nice and very, very well above average volume. During this pullback and consolidation, look at the volume. Quite a bit of a volume drop off. So volume analysis, exactly how you would want to see this pattern continue to form. Now, that still doesn't guarantee anything, but it does raise the edge that, okay, yeah, this is a good quality pattern. So if you like this price range, if you like bull pennants, keep an eye on UVIX. Next one here, NIO. And given the context of the market today with a lot of stocks getting beat down, this one actually had a green day. So very, very impressive trend here over the past few days. Updates need to be made. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that level as it served its purpose for now. First update, just based on the rule that when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see them act as support. So 485 will be that ideal level of support, as I mentioned earlier. That's just the level where you're going to say, Clay, what make this chart look the absolute healthiest moving forward? Certainly would be if the price can stay above 485. So keep a close eye on that right there. And then from the big picture point of view, keep an eye on that purple line there, 50 period moving average. As I mentioned already, as long as the price stays above there, then from the overarching vantage point, the bulls are still in full control. In terms of areas of resistance, pretty interesting level kind of formed after the morning hour. Just this flat area right there you can see is presenting some problems. And if the price can break above there, especially if it's high volume break, no guarantees, but I think there's a great chance the price at least gets up to that area of resistance. Whether or not it breaks new highs, I'm not sure on that. But I think the odds are pretty significant that, like I said, high volume break of this miniature resistance right there sends the price up to at least do battle with that resistance right there. Next one, PLTR, and rough day on this one. Not as rough as some of these other ones, but I would definitely say some pretty well-defined levels can now be put into place. First key level being this trend line right there. And that's an area where moving forward, I can see a couple different angles. I can see people saying, well, if it comes on there, I want to buy because I can see it bouncing. Totally valid. I can completely see where you're coming from. Other people are saying, well, if the price comes on there, I think it might break. So I want to get short because if it breaks and I get short, I think that's going to continue on more momentum. I totally see where those people are coming from too. And that's why risk management matters, because somebody's going to be right, somebody's going to be wrong, and you got to manage that risk. But the core key and common theme here is that both people, or I think a lot of people, will be thinking about that trend line there just because it's a very easy one to draw. And I like those easy trend lines because then you can start to introduce those potential self-fulfilling prophecies. So keep an eye on that if there is any sort of bigger pullback. And then as far as areas of resistance are concerned, main battleground right now is right where the price is at, that purple line there. Can the price ultimately break and get some separation above that purple line? That remains to be seen. If you do get further separation from it, then the next key level of resistance to keep an eye on, right up here at that level of the 3105 mark. Next one, TQQQ. Brutal day today. We've been observing this sideways channel pattern on it, but you can see opening part of the day, price came down there and then just brutalized that line and down it went. Now, at least the price has started to go sideways there. That does not mean that this is for sure the bottom, but it becomes a lot more plausible to suggest that maybe this is the bottom. Case in point, let's just say the price was still dropping, and I'm sitting there saying, hey, it's looking like this could be the bottom. You'd be totally justified to say, what are you talking about? Based on what? The price is literally still just dropping. But that's not the case here. Started to go sideways. Guaranteed bottom? No. But plausible, reasonable to suggest it's a bottom? Absolutely. So go get rid of that line right there. And then as far as resistances are concerned, again, that rule and levels of support are broken and closed below. They tend to act as resistance. And actually, I'm going to adjust this level down a little bit more now to bring it towards that near level right there around the $58 mark. In terms of levels of support, key level is just simply where the bottom part of this channel is at, right around the 56.65 mark, give or take a little bit. But you can see tight little range here. Are the bears going to get more momentum next week and break to the downside? Can the price reverse back around? We'll see what happens. For those of you interested in Bitcoin, I will do that here in just a second. But for you stock traders out there, again, if you like what you saw here, then definitely go get signed up for the free live webinar. Like I said, it'll be next week, Thursday, September 12th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So I hope to see you there, and bring your questions because there will be a Q&A session, and I'd be happy to answer them live for you. All right, now let's talk some Bitcoin. One quick clarification here. I am now on the 4-hour time frame. I mean, each of these candlesticks represents 4 hours, and that's because Bitcoin is open 24/7. So in order for this video and analysis to remain relevant all weekend long, I like to get on these longer time frames. But yeah, as I speak right now, things are not looking good for Bitcoin. These have been the two key levels of support we've been tracking, and you can see that since the last update I did, the price is now blasted down through both of those areas of support. So I need to just get rid of that level, pretty irrelevant right now. I'm also just going to get rid of this area right here because I still think that the main area right now at this point is going to be 55,700. So as I've talked about previously, when levels of support are broken, they tend to act as resistance. So let's just first start there. Question number one to ask yourself, and let's just say you're watching this video 20 hours from now. Maybe you're watching this video on Sunday afternoon. But whenever you're watching this, question number one, where is the price at relative to 55,700? If in any way, shape, or form you're answering that question, the price is up above that level, that is a good thing. That would imply that the bleeding has stopped and it has at least recovered enough to get back above that level. So like I said, any questions being answered that the price is above that area, that is a good thing. That means Bitcoin's having a good weekend. Now, if you're saying, well, Clay, the price is still down below that level, well, then that's where we need to go and check the next key level. And I'm going to have to squeeze things down here quite a bit because it's been a while since the price has been down this low. But next key area of support to check on will be right there at 52,600. So if you're saying, well, Clay, I'm watching and the price is down below 52,600, that's just telling you that the bears are still in full control and that it's a bearish weekend and there's really no way around that. If you're saying, well, Clay, the price is still up above here, but it's down below there. So in other words, it's somewhere right around here. At that point, I would just say consolidation. Not in a bullish sense, not in a bearish sense, just a pretty neutral stance that, okay, got to wait and see what happens. Now, overall, you still have to give the advantage to the bears because it's in a very clear downtrend right now. But if you're answering the question that the price is still below, in between those two levels, like I said, I wouldn't really call it a good weekend and I wouldn't call it a bad weekend. I'd call it pretty neutral. So keep an eye on those levels, walk yourself through those questions, and that'll keep this analysis relevant all weekend long. As I invited the stock traders, I'm inviting you as a crypto and Bitcoin trader to get signed up for this class because what you're learning about can and definitely should be used within the world of crypto and Bitcoin. So like I said, if you enjoyed what you saw here, definitely go get signed up for it. It'll be next week, Thursday, September 12th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And I hope to see you there. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, please do a couple things for me. Hit that like button, leave a comment below, say thanks, say hi, tell me what you're going to trade next week or what your watch list is, and anything like that really helps out with the algorithm and helps out the video. So I thank you in advance. So like I said, if you enjoyed, definitely go get signed up for that free training. Have a great weekend.